Well, we'll see if the state of Michigan can provide a little more magic. BTN Super Wednesday presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. We'll stay in state, try to follow up that first matchup on BTN with Michigan and Minnesota from the Chrysler Center. Alongside Stephen Bardo, I'm Kevin Kugler. Let's take a look at the Buffalo Wild Wings starting lineup. If Minnesota's going to get their first win, they need points out of Nate Mason.
Yeah, Nate Mason, the second leading scorer for the Gophers. He's got to be big on the road and give his young teammates some confidence, come out quickly.
And meanwhile, for the Michigan Wolverines, you look at this lineup and you see Duncan Robinson highlighted because he's been a highlight machine of late.
He's a guy that you have to pick up from his dorm room, not from the parking lot. Unlimited range. He stretches defenses out. He's done a fantastic job here in his first season with the Wolverines.
There's John Beilein, the head coach of Michigan. 13-5 record this year. You see the numbers in his career at Michigan. It's been a tough stretch for the Wolverines. They're happy to be back home. Richard Pitino, it's been a tough stretch in this conference season for the third-year head coach of the Gophers. 0-6 right now in conference play. They've lost 7 straight overall and trying to turn it around with this young squad.
Yeah, we saw Minnesota last season going to Michigan State and come out with a surprise victory when they were struggling. So see if they can come out here and play better basketball to get the game started.
Dupree McBrayer and Nate Mason with the ball in their hands. Mason trying to enter it inside, and there's Murphy going to work. The shot no good, and Derek Walton Jr. with the rebound.
That's a nice matchup for Minnesota. Jordan Murphy being guarded by Zach Irvin. Zach Irvin's a good defender. He doesn't have the size, in my opinion, to keep Murphy away from the rim.
Zach Irvin, 33 points in the last 2 games. That off-balance jumper rebounded by Nate Mason.
We see Charles Buggs in the lineup tonight for Minnesota. A stretch 4 type that can spread the defense a little bit, active body. Team to look for any matchup, Kevin, that'll give him some energy off the bench.
This catch inside by Konate, and then the handoff for 2 to Jordan Murphy.
Good start for Minnesota. So Minnesota starting out in man-to-man. Primarily a zone defensive team, but I said Pitino trying to do anything to shake up this team and get some different results.
Walton. Donnell with 8 on the shot clock. The handoff to Walton. Step back deep 2, and it rattles home for Derek Walton.
You couldn't play any better defense than Nate Mason did on that possession. But that's how good Derek Walton's playing right now.
40 points the last 3 games for Derek Walton Jr. It really came on in the second half against Iowa their last time out. At 13 of his 16 in the second half as McBrayer launches the 3. And that's rebounded by Zach Irvin. He's just 4 of 29 from 3 this year. On the attack, Irvin left it underneath the backboard, and it'll go out of bounds and stay with Michigan.
Well, Derek Walton, this is a tough jumper. Just the baby toe is on the line, Kevin, and Mason was right there defensively. Derek Walton is so valuable to this team, though. Team's leading rebound. Very unique for a point guard to be your team's leading rebounder, but he does a little bit of everything, especially in the absence of Karis LeVert.
Beilein told us it's encouraging, the news he's getting on Karis LeVert, but still not back yet. 5th game that he's missed as Mason attacks end-to-end. That won't go, and Abdul Rahman with the rebound. Now he'll push. Walton in transition, launching the 3. Weak side rebound by Donnell. Donnell back out to Robinson. Wide open look.
Mark Donnell, that's a heck of a play. Knowing that the best time to shoot a 3-pointer, Kevin, you hear me say this every game, is on an offensive rebound. He could have tried to go up against the tall Timbers, but saw Duncan Robinson. That's great teamwork.
Ball knocked away. Good play by Zach Irvin. Now in transition, Walton. And that's intercepted by Nate Mason. Equally good play on the other end. Here's Buggs on the attack. Left it short. And the rebound out to Irvin. A couple of bodies down on the other end. Michigan's going to have to wait till everybody gets down here. Donnell and Abdul Rahman were slow to get up. They appear to be okay.
I anticipate this game having a very quick pace, Kevin. Michigan typically doesn't turn the ball over very much. Minnesota typically sits back in the zone defense, but they've come out in the man-to-man, and they don't foul very much.
The 3 over that D from Zach Irvin, and Michigan off to the early 8-2 lead.
You see Jordan Murphy's head drop. Yeah, he's thinking he's closing out on Zach Irvin. You got to be closer than that when he elevates.
8-0 run for Michigan. Nate Mason 0 for 1 so far today, but he gets to the rim with the right hand.
And he's much more aggressive, Kevin. In the last game we saw him out at Nebraska, looking for his shot early in the game.
Now, one of the things Richard Pitino told us at shoot-around today says, absolutely need to get Nate Mason going from an offensive standpoint. And you see he's been aggressive in the first few minutes of this game, trying to get that offensive game jump-started.
He has. And you know what? Minnesota has a little pep in their step tonight.
And a whistle away from the ball. And a foul underneath, and that's going to be a timeout on the floor. 15:59 remaining in this first half. Duncan Robinson launching, as he is wont to do, an early 8-4 lead. Super Wednesday basketball on BTN is presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports, and brought to you in part by State Farm. We exist to assist. 8-4 lead from Michigan alongside Stephen Bardo. I'm Kevin Kugler. And happy with the start tonight for the Michigan Wolverines. And Minnesota going to the bench, and our Motel 6 sixth man, Joey King. One of the big reasons why Minnesota battled throughout with Indiana in their last time out.
He was struggling there for a little while, but now seems to have gotten back on track offensively. Still the leading scorer for Minnesota. And along with Nate Mason, he needs to be offensively aggressive, because Michigan, with their three-point shooting prowess, can come and hit you with an AO run before you know it.
There's that three-point shooting prowess you talked about. Robinson going down to the floor, still hits the three.
Yeah, you cannot help off of him. You just have to really play the other four guys, play more matchup, and with him, you cannot leave him.
Murphy will try to answer, and he does. Jordan Murphy, one of the guys that I know you were looking for to have a big game tonight.
Yeah, he's an undersized power forward with the ability to step away from the bucket. So he presents a lot of athleticism problems. That time, he was wide open at the three. I bet he won't be wide open next time.
Well, you love that matchup if you're Michigan. Donnell underneath against Joey King.
Yeah, Donnell, we talked to John Beeline before the game. There's always a player that is just going along, minding the business, and all of a sudden they just take off. Mark Donnell is the latest addition of that with the Wolverines.
Yeah, it's like conference play started. He went, 13 points, 8 rebounds a game in conference play. Abdul-Rahman with a rebound for Michigan. Robinson again launching off this time, bugs the rebound.
Another scorer that can get going for Minnesota could be Carlos Morris.
That's a foul on Jordan Murphy, and that'll send it the other way. And will check out. True freshman point guard coming in, giving a spell. Also, Carlos Morris on the floor. Michigan's going to stick with the same five, and why not, off to the 13-7 start, shooting at even 50% from the floor.
Yeah, you saw Jordan Murphy go to the bench. He picked up his first foul. He is foul prone, Kevin. A lot of times he'll pick up that first one, get down on himself, and put himself in bad position defensively to pick up a quick second.
57 fouls whistled on him this year. That's the most on the team. Robinson, the spin, the fade away. Pinballing out. Konate there to rip down the rebound.
Now, Charles Buggs did a good job defensively, because if Duncan Robinson is going to be inside the three-point line, that's what you want. Over 85% of his scoring comes from long distance. Nice closeout.
King was out there, had a look briefly, but Abdul-Rahman got right out there on top of him. Then a little too handsy, commits the foul.
Good job by the senior, Joey King, taking advantage of Abdul-Rahman being off balance a little bit, drawing the contact.
There's Aubrey Dawkins on the floor for substitution for Michigan, as Abdul-Rahman will sit down. Aubrey Dawkins had a fine game against Iowa. Really one of his better overall games of the season. Hit from three. You saw that. Everybody, I'm sure, saw the part where he threw the pass, and as the timeout came, John Beeline came up in the middle of the game, gave him a big hug. He said, look, we're celebrating his assists right now.
That's right. It's the small improvements, small consistent improvements that at the end of the season add up to something special.
Morris attacking against Irvin, and the floater falls.
It seems like the more difficult a shot is, the more Carlos Morris likes it. He makes some tough shots look very easy.
last time this Minnesota team was on the road, you and I were there, they were in Lincoln, and they did not have the same energy out of the gate as they've shown here. Irvin has a way of deflating some energy with a three from the right side.
If you look at Picard Kanate, he's like, wait a minute, I'm taller, I'm longer. I got my hand up on the shot, he's still hitting up the cotton. Minnesota coming out, though, like you're saying, Kevin, they got a little bit more swagger here today.
And the turnover going the other way. Well, Michigan, not a surprise to see him off to the red-hot start from behind the arc. They're 4 of 6 tonight. They are the NCAA leader, averaging nearly 11 made three-pointers per game. They're 4 for 6 from 3. They're 2 for 6 from 2 tonight.
Yeah, and that's, you look at those numbers, that's outstanding, because if you're going to take away the 3, Michigan has enough guys that can put it on the deck and create. And look at the floor spacing. No one's in the paint. Everything's along the perimeter, which provides a lot of space.
Dawkins trying to find the range. There's a foul as Murphy leaping up to grab that board, and this one going on Mark Donnell. That's his first, team second.
I like how Jordan Murphy smacked that ball on the rebound. We can hear that in the parking lot. You hear that right there? Young viewers, that's how you rebound the basketball. You make your opponents think twice about sticking their hand in there.
Jordan Murphy originally signing with VCU, and Shaka Smart left, reopened, came to Minnesota. They're thrilled to have him. Morris a little strong on that three, and now the push again. Irvin, Dawkins leading the field.
Irvin's game, we talked about in the absence of Karis LeVert, every aspect of his game has improved.
Now Murphy trying to find some room to roam. Tough catch. Buggs fires the three, and Walton with the rebound. Buggs right out on top of Duncan Robinson.
And watch this action by Michigan. Floor spacing, continuity, so difficult to defend.
Irvin bumped a little bit. Shot clock at 6. Walton's got to hurry. Shot clock at 3. Deep 3 for Walton, and the air ball caught underneath before the clock expired by Morris. And Minnesota build on a good defensive possession on the offensive end. Just 4 for 11 tonight. Dorsey on the penetration, and a foul going the other way. Dawkins and Robinson both slow to get up.
Well, Minnesota's coming out with a little bit of energy, but the three-point shooting for Minnesota making it difficult to close this gap.
I'm Kevin Kugler. We welcome you back inside Chrysler Center. Minnesota's going to have nights like this, and they've had too many of them as far as Richard Pitino is concerned. A very young team going through a lot of growing pains.
Yeah, when you try to inject youth into a starting lineup, you're going to have mistakes. And we already seen 4 turnovers for Minnesota early in the game, compared with 4 field goals. So they're not getting as many looks at the bucket as they would like. But Richard Pitino, when you're winless in conference play, you've got to try different things. So he's going for a youth movement. And I like the swagger, Kevin. We've noticed it. It's a lot different from what they looked like a couple weeks ago at Nebraska.
Now the question is, can they maintain that if Michigan continues to build on this lead, or do they start to hang their heads and slump their shoulders a little bit?
See, that's where seniors Joey King and Carlos Morris need to step up. Even if they're not vocal guys, Kevin, they can lead by example. You know, be tough, get an offensive rebound, come up with a steal. Just do the little things.
Andrew Dockich on the floor, Mo Wagner on the floor as well for Michigan, and the long rebound caroms out to Kevin Dorsey.
You know, Minnesota hasn't been poor defensively because Michigan just shoots the ball so well. They're giving themselves an opportunity, but they've got to be sharp. No pun intended.
As Stephon Sharp misses on that three. It was good timing on your part.
Yeah, but they've got to be sharp from the offensive end. Especially when you're trying to play a team like Michigan on the road that doesn't give you much room for mistakes.
Got to hurry. The shot clock winding down, and Dockich with the steal tips it to Irvin. Irvin to the other end, lays it up and in.
Good job by Zach Irvin going right to the rim, but Kevin Dorsey's got to do a better job. He's got to make him change directions or something. That was too easy.
Dorsey will fire the quick three. That's strong. Dockich the rebound. Irvin with 8 points already and 3 rebounds. And the pace, much to Michigan's liking, as Robinson's floater rolls out. Murphy the rebound.
Robinson with that size getting into the paint.
Dorsey on the attack. That's not going to go. Dawkins fouled by Murphy, and there's one of those fouls that you talk about with Jordan Murphy that gets into trouble on fouls like that. That's his second.
Yeah, and look how far it was away from the basket. They're 70 feet from defending, and he has no business going for that ball right there, but that's what freshmen have to learn. So they'll get the best teachers that bench.
It's not a lesson that Richard Pitino wants to keep teaching.
That's true. It's one of those seasons for Minnesota where you're turning over your roster. You've got some young guys you're having to depend on. And the Big Ten is an unforgiving league for freshmen that are not prepared mentally, not physically, mentally.
Well, Michigan holding Minnesota to 4 of 14 shooting and just 2 points over the last 6.5 minutes, and a foul on Joey King as Aubrey Dawkins was looking for a little room along the baseline.
Oh, Coach Pitino going at Gene Steratore. Wasn't happy about that call on Joey King closing out defensively.
Now he's giving Lamont Simpson some advice as well.
I think he likes his crew.
Maybe not at the moment, but he could learn to like them as the game goes on.
Yeah, especially if his guys will respond here.
15 to shoot. And a foul away from the ball. Stephon Sharp got tangled up with Duncan Robinson. Both teams going down the bench a little bit tonight. Sharp just in his 7th game, but with the injury to Ahmad Gilbert, that's changed the rotation a little bit for Minnesota, and thus Sharp in early in this game.
Yeah, and Sharp's trying hard. He's playing hard, but right there, mental mistake. 2 hands on Duncan Robinson. You're going to get a foul on that every time.
First foul on Sharp, 6th foul already on Minnesota, just 2 for Michigan. The lob underneath, nice catch by Wagner in the finish.
I like that. Oh, Wagner, big fellow that's agile, can move. Good job on the adjustment on the pass.
9-0 Michigan run, the 22-9 lead. And a foul underneath Dawkins, a little bit of early contact. And a little bit of a combination from Michigan on the other end that you don't see a lot. Dockage to Wagner.
And Dockage was supposed to be redshirting this year and burned it again because they had some injuries. Good job of leading Wagner to the rim. Big fella knows what to do with it.
Every year for Dockage, just when he thought he was out, they pull him back in.
That's right. And you know what? The look on his face indicates that he is loving every minute of it.
Here's Mason. Mason just 2 points tonight. The jumper short from the elbow, and Walton the rebound.
Nice closeout by Dupree McBrayer on Zach Irvin. Hands up, discouraging a pass in the post area. Those plays can multiply on one another, Kevin, and give this Minnesota team some much-needed confidence.
I'll say this about Michigan. They got a good look again, and the ball movement has been especially crisp tonight for the Wolverines. They're moving it both sides of the floor back and forth.
They are, and it indicates a really high level of chemistry, in my opinion. These guys really like these guys. Bakari Kanate, doing a good job there, but Joey King just not communicating.
Kanate, I believe that's above the requisite amount of steps you're allowed without putting the ball on the floor.
Yeah, he's not in the NBA, so.
I'm not even sure you get away with that one in the NBA. He just started walking.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen some 5-step moves in the NBA recently.
Trying to extend that 9-0 run up 22-9 with 8 minutes remaining in this first half. Wagner for 3. A little bit strong, and the rebound tipped into the hands of Bugs.
Nice battle by Nate Mason on the defensive glass. Dawkins had a height advantage.
And Mason gets to the rim. Going to count that bucket and a chance to go to the line for a 3-point play. And now it's John Beilein's turn to be unhappy with the officiating crew. Count the bucket for Mason. First points in the last 10 possessions for the Golden Gophers. Mason with some acrobatics to get 2 on the board. The two teams, one that Matt Painter feels like they let get away, so it should not be hard to motivate the Boilermakers for that game. And Iowa hasn't had any trouble motivating for any game this year.
No, this is the toughest Iowa team physically that I think I've seen under Fran McCaffrey. And they were down 19 in that game, and they didn't blink. And that was as physical of a game that I've seen in this conference in the last 2 years. And so I know Matt Painter thinks that they might have given that away. Iowa took that one.
Yeah, you and I were bruised after that game. First points for Minnesota since the 13:35 mark on that three-point play from Nate Mason.
Yeah, but Kevin, you bounce back a lot quicker than I did.
Spent all weekend in the cold tub.
I was dealing with some cold stuff, but it wasn't in the tub.
McBrayer on the push. Walton almost got that one. Now he'll launch. And McBrayer rattles it home. Boy, that's a big three for the confidence of Dupree McBrayer.
That's exactly right. And so younger players, Kevin, their total game is predicated on how well they're doing offensively. So he'll pick up the defensive intensity. Looks like his teammates got a little boost from that.
Walton trying to save it, and he does. Irvin, nice play by Walton, who ended up with the cheerleaders. Donnell, the answer for Michigan.
It's amazing what confidence does for a young player. Mark Donnell wouldn't think about shooting that shot last year. All of a sudden, it's just like, hey, I've been here now. I know what I'm supposed to do.
He's got 5 points, his fifth made three of the season. McBrayer attacking, and the foul is going to be called inside against Michigan. Duncan Robinson with his first.
Well, watch Derek Walton doesn't give up on the play. Great save to Zach Irvin. And Mark Donnell, knowing that the big is going to be slow, that's a practice jumper right there. Mark Donnell making it look easy.
Broke a mini 6-0 Minnesota run. King the deep three. And the rebound and a foul. Bakari Konate climbing over the back, and that is going to be his second. And more importantly, for Michigan, it means 1-and-1 opportunity and free throws the rest of the half.
Konate's upset, but he had no chance at that rebound and went over the back. That was a pretty easy call to make. And so he's going to look back. He's not going. He's mad at the officials, but those decisions are what get you in the hole on the road, especially against a team like Michigan.
Calculated risk here, Stephen, as Jordan Murphy returns for Konate. And remember, Murphy also with 2 fouls and the most foul-prone guy on the roster for Minnesota.
And what I expect to see defensively from Minnesota the next defensive possession is to go into their patented zone.
Mason, the floater, won't go. Rebound tipped around. McBrayer with 17 to shoot. And McBrayer going to work against Derek Walton, who picks up his first.
It's good recognition that time. Minnesota understood that McBrayer had one-on-one, and you see them space the floor, let him go one-on-one. He draws the contact. That's a heads-up move by Dupree McBrayer. Sounds like MacGyver, doesn't it? I want to say Dupree MacGyver, but I don't want his people mad at him.
I'm not sure he's as creative yet. MacGyver would find some very interesting ways to get things done as Konate comes back in for Murphy.
Good point.
1 for 2 for the freshman out of Queens, New York. And a 25-16 advantage for Michigan with the ball.
Boy, Nate Mason is doing a pretty good job on Walton.
Good rotation out to Robinson, the three strong, and King the rebound. Michigan is swinging the ball all over the half court on the offensive end. Get some good looks. Konate with the left hand. Good defense by Mark Donnell. Inside, back out it goes. Robinson for three. He's 0 for his last 5 as Irvin pulls down the offensive board.
It's amazing how Duncan Robinson shoots the majority of his threes in this building from basically the same location. The right wing. He loves that space, and his teammates know it. So whenever he's there, they get him the basketball.
Irvin got King in the air but couldn't finish, and then slipping down was Buggs, and a foul going to be called.
That was a slick floor foul.
Yeah, Mark Donnell is going to pick up the foul, but that's a rough way to get a foul. Coming up, our State Farm halftime report. Dave Revson and Jess Settles will be along from our Chicago studio with the State Farm halftime report. We'll get you caught up on everything around the conference, including game 1 of our Super Wednesday doubleheader that saw an upset across the state here in Michigan. Michigan State fell to Nebraska tonight.
And Dave Revson was on the call last night of a very exciting Northwestern and Maryland game. And Dave is as professional as they come, but I know his heart was hurting a little bit because the Wildcats came up just short for the 2nd year in a row out at Maryland. That was an excellent game.
Front end of the 1-and-1 good for Charles Buggs. Started tonight for the first time since December 8th against South Dakota State. And he's been in and out of the, I don't want to say doghouse, but he's been in and out of the playing rotation. Missed a couple of games against Michigan State and Northwestern, healthy scratches, but is back out there with the injury to Ahmad Gilbert, and has got Minnesota back within 7 now, a 10-3 run for the Gophers after falling behind by 13. Walton down the baseline. Oh, what a play by Walton. He'll go to the line for one more.
Wow. That first step wasn't much Dupree McGrayer could do in that situation. Watch how quick he gets by Dupree and then knows that there's contact coming, uses the rim to shield himself from the defender. That's a beautiful play. Derek Walton. Freaky along the baseline.
He looks better in slow motion.
Sure does.
Three-point play stretches the lead to 10 again. Just when Minnesota feels like they're starting to make some headway, Michigan has the answer. Minnesota just 2 for their last 11 from the floor. McGrayer attacking. Floater won't go. Oh my goodness, Bakari Konate there to finish it off.
That's what he needs to concentrate on. He's not a catch the ball back to the basket scorer yet. He can develop into that, but not yet. He's an activity guy, can get on the offensive glass.
Walton the 3. And Konate trying for the rebound, and it'll stay with Michigan.
Kevin, we are seeing a winless team in the Big Ten come on the road and have some swagger. I love this from Minnesota. They are playing well. They took an early onslaught of threes. Now Michigan has cooled a little bit. And as you mentioned, they're back in single digits. This is a big first half for Minnesota.
And Irvin takes all that you are saying and says, here's a 3 right in your eye. 31-20, Michigan back up by 11. 4:14 remaining in the first half. And when you need a spark, Zach Irvin's been the guy to provide it of late. 33 points his last 2 games, 11 tonight. Tonight, no different. 11 points. What you don't see, there's 6 rebounds to go with that. And the 3 for 3 from 3, that's the anomaly in all of these numbers for Irvin.
No doubt about it. And inside of those last 4 games, Irvin had 22 points, an upset win over Maryland. And even though his three-point shooting has improved, to give an indication how much he was struggling before getting hot lately, he's still shooting under 28% from three-point line on the season.
Yeah, it's certainly not the anomaly in his career. He led the team last year with 77 made threes, but it's been a rough go behind the arc until tonight for Irvin with 3 for 3 from back there.
That's right. And Michigan and John Beilein does a wonderful job of getting his guys next man up mentality. We lose our leading scorer, our leader, next man up, and Zach Irvin has responded.
Off the kick, Minnesota maintains the possession. Carlos Morris with 10 to shoot. Morris will hand back to Nate Mason. 3 on the shot clock. Mason 1 to shoot. Didn't notice it. They don't get the shot off. Excellent defense by Michigan, but Minnesota now with 7 turnovers, and it's killing them. When they try to get back in this game, they make a mistake like that.
It seems a little bit similar to what we saw in Nebraska. They would take 1 step forward and they take 2 steps back. And when you're struggling, you lose focus a little bit. This doesn't help your cause, especially on the road with a hot shooting team like Michigan.
Can Michigan take advantage? They've not been able to tonight. Only 2 points off turnovers, and now a tie-up between Abdur Rahman and Buggs, and it'll stay with Michigan, the arrow pointing in the way of the Wolverines.
Nice active hands by Charles Buggs, getting on the floor, causing a tie-up. kind of aggressive action hopefully can become contagious for these Gophers.
It's one thing that they've been working on with Bugs is getting his defense up to par. Richard Pitino saying earlier in the week that he closes out defensively with his hands down, and that's something that they really are working on along with the rest of the defensive package.
Well, he should be an outstanding defender at 6'9" with tremendous length, and he's not a bad athlete, so he could be a defensive force if he puts his mind to it.
Now got a mismatch down low. Ricky Doyle against Joey King, and a foul inside. Coming up, our State Farm halftime report. 3:18 until the half. Michigan with the 11-point lead as Ricky Doyle goes to the line. Dave Revson, Jess Settles in our Chicago studios. State Farm halftime report coming up.
Sure, Jess Settles is walking around with his chest out a little bit bigger right now. Former Iowa Hawkeye great. The way the Hawkeyes are playing, and the season in football and basketball that combined that Iowa is having, he's got to feel pretty good about himself.
I believe he walks around the studio on off days in a herky hair, just kind of strolling around. Yeah, the herky, the Hawkeye.
Okay. He's big enough to do it.
Michigan matching their largest lead at 13. Morris around the screen, forced that one up, and the jumper no good. Here comes Zach Irvin. Transition's been kind to Michigan tonight. Irvin on the run. The scoop is up and in.
What an adjustment. And Zach Irvin walks down the floor throwing his hands up like, I don't know how I did it.
He'll take it, though. 13 points, 7 rebounds in this first half for Irvin.
Joey King's got to get involved. He's got to get on the offensive glass, get a putback, get his confidence up.
Good look from Mason. Abdul Rahman with the rebound. Here's Robinson launching from the right corner, and that's off the mark as well. Robinson cold now, 2 for 6 from 3, and a foul on Abdul Rahman.
Watch this adjustment by Zach Irvin. Look at this. He's going in, sidesteps, underhand, and goes around Doyle to get the bucket.
That gets you a letter in horse.
Yeah. And his teammates are going to say, man, that was lucky. He's like, no, I meant to do that.
Carlos Morris, a 64% free throw shooter. One more for Morris. Trying to get back in the scoring column a little bit, Stephen. He's averaged just under 6 points a game over the last 3 games. He's dropped his average down a little bit to 10.8 per game.
I think Carlos has struggled mightily. He and Joey King, when they were taken out of the starting lineup, you know, for guys that are used to starting most of their careers and they have to come off the bench, I think he and Joey took it internally on them like, well, we're the reason we're not winning. I don't think that was the case. I just think the coach is trying to shake things up, get some energy in the games to start. But Carlos has not responded coming off the bench.
Ball looking for room on the baseline. Ball knocked away, and it's going to stay with Michigan.
Back in the game now for Wolverines, number 11, Andrew
Dockich back in. Gave some good minutes earlier. There's Dad and Dockich relaxing a little bit.
Boy, Indiana fans are going to be hot about that. Hoosier fans don't care if his son's on the floor. He's wearing another Big Ten emblem.
Irvin is red hot. 15 first half points for Zach Irvin. My goodness. He's been playing some good basketball of late as Morris launches and hits.
Zach Irvin, we got to remember now he had an off-season procedure with his back. So he didn't have the normal progression leading up to this season. So where most guys are going from day one, he's just now 100% in terms of his timing, his speed, and that jumper.
That one's short over Konate, and Morris starts it up for Minnesota. 1:17 to go until halftime. Minnesota down 12. They'd love to go into the locker room down single digits.
It'd be a huge boost for them because I'm telling you, they played hard here in this first half.
Deep three. And Morris has scored the last 8 points for the Gophers. They're down 37-28.
Carlos Morris can do that now. He can heat up in a hurry. See what Michigan has here. It's like their normal offensive set.
Zach Irvin attacking. And he throws that one to the bench, which is all of a sudden up and excited again for Minnesota.
Carlos Morris shooting NBA range, feeling good. That's the second one from the same location. And that last play that forced a turnover, Carlos Morris came from the opposite corner to jump at the ball to force the turnover. Carlos Morris starting to pick up some intensity when that shot is dropping.
Morris all by himself on an 8-2 run against Michigan.
And he better get the ball this time. I'm Kevin Dorsey. I'm going to the hot hand.
Look in the top left corner of your screen. That's where you'll see Carlos Morris. He is a little bit impatient right now. There he is. 5 to shoot. Entry to Murphy. Murphy inside the bucket and the foul.
Tell you what, I wasn't pleased with the decision. There were 3 Wolverines around Murphy. I thought he could kick it back out to Morris, who's got the hot hand. But that young man showing you how strong he is to fight through the contact and to score over the bigger Ricky Doyle.
For Doyle, his first. Murphy to the line. Has not had a free throw attempt tonight. Just a 58% shooter. Robinson the rebound. Final shot coming from Michigan. Up 7. Irvin driving, dishing, Dockage. No, Doyle offensive rebound. That's not going to go. And halftime is here as Minnesota closes the half on a 10-2 run and draws within 7 at halftime, 37-30. Michigan led by 15 with under 3 minutes to go. Stay tuned. Dave and Jess will be along from Chicago with a State Farm halftime report. Michigan by 7 in Ann Arbor. Super Wednesday Basketball on BTN is presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. Brought to you in part by Auto Owners Insurance, the no-problem people. Find your agent at AutoOwners.com. And by Rocket Mortgage, the fast, powerful, completely online way to get a mortgage by Quicken Loans. Get ready to start the second half here in Ann Arbor. Michigan once led by 15. The lead now 7, 37-30 as we get ready to start the second half. But one of the reasons Michigan led throughout that first half, the Quicken Loans' amazing performance in the first half by Zach Irvin.
He was outstanding. Touched every aspect of the game. The numbers speak for themselves. Came out confident, aggressive, and for a point there, he really got Michigan out to a great start. Minnesota responded.
Zach Irvin, only player in double figures for Michigan. Minnesota with Carlos Morris in doubles. He went to the free throw line at the 2:22 mark with 2 points, scored the next 8, and thus earns himself a chance to start the second half on the floor. No Dupree McBrayer, who started the game. Instead, Morris on the floor to start things off in the second half.
And Joey King on the floor as well. So Richard Petito trying to go with some veterans because they're in pretty good shape here.
Mason's bucket brings Minnesota within 5. Walton, Abdul Rahman, Irvin, Robinson, and Donnell on the floor for Michigan. Jordan off to Walton.
Excuse me, Kevin. Jordan Murphy's got to be careful. He's got to get through this first 5 minutes without another foul if he can.
Irvin attacking just like he did in the first half, gets to the rim and finishes it all.
Boy, he got Jordan Murphy high that time. And a straight line drive to the rim is too easy.
What a performance tonight by Zach Irvin. Long way to go. He's got 17 as Mason keeps it alive. Morris, oh, what a pass inside to Jordan Murphy.
I'm telling you, man, Carlos Morris has come alive. Looking to score, being aggressive, great pass to Murphy. Those plays get you right back in this game and have them feeling good about themselves. I mean, Minnesota's got nothing to lose, Kevin. They're winless right now. There's no pressure on them.
They're as close as they've been since the 13:35 mark of the first half. It was 13-9. Robinson finds the range again. He missed his last 6 closing out the first half, but he loves that spot on the floor.
And Duncan Robinson was fortunate because Zach Irvin got away with a walk right before he gave the ball up, and the Minnesota bench went nuts.
13 to shoot. And there's a foul going to be called on Walton.
Well, Robinson loves that right wing or the extended elbow area on the three-point line. And the thing is, Kevin, when you're close to him, you don't recognize how tall he is. He's 6'8", and he's got some hops. So if you're 6'8" with hops, it's going to be very difficult to bother his shot once he gets into it.
Carlos Morris trying to pick up where he left off at the end of the first half. The other way. Walton. To back it out. Mason able to recover.
I think Mason's done a very good job of keeping Derek Walton's penetration limited in terms of getting to the rim.
Irvin, after the hesitation, to the rim, and again, Zach Irvin, who leads Michigan in points scored, rebounds, and assists tonight. He's got 19.
And he got hit in the face by Jordan Murphy right there to finish. Murphy, fortunately, he didn't get that foul. I'll tell you what, I love watching players like Zach Irvin. When they get going and they can shoot from distance and then they put it on the deck, he's leading the team in rebound. He's playing great defense.
Speaking of great defense, Abdur-Rahman and Mark Donnell both there to reject that one.
I don't know what the street is called right outside of Chrysler's arena here, but that's a block party. That's two teammates getting involved, and Abdur-Rahman and Donnell making it tough to get to the rim.
Donnell with the block, and then a foul before the ball could be inbounded. That'll go on Abdur-Rahman. Let's check out our auto owners insurance game leaders as we wind our way through the early stages of the second half. Morris with 10 points. And you see a familiar name from Michigan. Irvin. Mason's floater falls. And Minnesota back within 8. Irvin's scored 11 of the last 16 for Michigan.
You know what? Michigan's going to keep going to him as well. It's a favorable matchup for him.
Robinson a little bit strong. Mason, nice tip to Morris. Murphy, double, backs it out. Mason. Murphy and Mason not on the same page on that one, the turnover. Here comes Irvin.
Watch the ball movement, look at the floor space, and wide open layup.
Rahman's shot is blocked by Bugs.
We have not seen effort plays like this out of Minnesota the last month, Kevin.
Morris can't find that one. Good defense by Zach Irvin.
Yes.
He's doing it all. No look pass, and Murphy got there to tip it. Irvin, Abdur-Rahman wide open. Murphy the board.
Minnesota doing some good things. Michigan also, in terms of offensively, they're getting wide open looks. They're just not knocking them down.
Mason attacking, and Mason able to get right down the middle of the lane to the rim.
We talked to Coach Beilein before the game. He was not pleased with the defensive effort of his Wolverines at Iowa. And he talked about how talented and quick this Minnesota Gopher team is in spite of them not winning a game yet in conference play.
Donnell spinning against King. And that's a whistle and a walk. Turnover back to Minnesota. And the Gophers, who have struggled defensively, using a little bit of D to try to climb back into this game. Charles Bugs with the rejection. Michigan's lead is 6.
The youth movement. These guys feel confident on the road tonight. They've got a different swagger, different energy level, and it's paying off thus far.
All 8 points in the half from Minnesota have come in the paint. So
not selling for threes, getting to the rim.
And Joey King took an extra step. So King, in the ball fake, picked up the pivot, and the turnover right back to Michigan.
And what you just mentioned in terms of all the points being in the paint for Michigan, Mo Wagner in the game now, trying to limit some of that dribble penetration and defending at the rim a little bit better.
Walton going inside, and Walton draws the contact and the foul. That was a big key to the success of Michigan when they extended that lead to 15 in the first half, getting inside and attacking as Murphy picks up his third.
Derek Walton does as good a job as any point guard in the league. And when he comes off a pick and roll, Kevin, he'll hesitate slightly to see what the defense is and then go to that fifth gear, get by his guy, and draw contact. 6
points tonight for Derek Walton Jr. Bakari Konate will come in now for Jordan Murphy.
Jordan Murphy, he's going to have to realize, very talented player, but can't be on the floor if you're in foul trouble.
You lose a nice offensive weapon if you're Minnesota when he's off the floor. Konate, not the same offensive play.
Not close. And it's weird. Konate looks like he's got a little hitch in his giddy up. Limping a little bit as he was running up the floor.
On a switch, Mason picked up by Irvin, and now Dupree McBrayer back out there going to work with 13 to shoot. The bounce to Mason for three, and Irvin with the rebound. That's 9 for Irvin. 1 board away from a double-double. Little crossover by Irvin, and he draws the contact from Konate, his third personal foul.
Boy, Irvin has put so much pressure on this Gophers defense. Whether it's shooting the three, getting on the glass. He's been the assist leader for Michigan tonight, so he's not just being selfish. He's doing everything.
Gaston Jeju now off the bench for the first time tonight as Richard Pitino's got foul trouble up front. Murphy and Konate each with 3 for Michigan. Abdul Rahman with 3.
Konate is on the bench getting some medical attention. Trying to figure out what's going on here.
Walton on the attack. The follow is there for Wagner.
That's a good job by the big fellow following the penetration right to the rim.
Michigan the answer again as they extend the lead back to double digits. Jeju inside, and he'll go to the line.
Well, Mo Wagner does what good bigs do on dribble penetration. Knowing that Jeju's coming over for the block, he cannot box out Wagner. He takes advantage.
Gaston Jeju headed to the line for just the 3rd time this season. He's 2 for 2.
Jeju's got good action on his shot, though. Nice follow through. You hear me say it all the time, Kevin. He's reaching to the cookie jar, so he's getting that follow through. Nice.
Nine-point ball game. Carlos Morris returns, and Jeju will leave. Now, that makes Minnesota much smaller. Bugs now is your main man in the middle.
And see, that's okay with this lineup with Michigan, because Wagner's not going to scare you catching the ball in the post and doing anything against Joey King.
Walton the 3. And Wagner reaching over the back of King commits the personal foul, his second. He's got his hand in the air saying, yep, it was me. I don't see too many players with the hand in the air anymore.
No, you don't, but I like seeing that.
Were you a hand in the air guy after the foul? Not
No.
that you ever fouled.
No, I was handing my shorts after I fouled. I was trying to get away with murder. I love how they have the German flag flying when Wagner comes in the game as well. You cannot beat going to these Big Ten campuses and these students following their fellow classmates.
Mason inside with a bucket and the foul. Minnesota just hanging around, and Richard Pitino told us in the shoot-around this guy needed to have a good game, and he is.
He's been very aggressive looking for his opportunities, and Richard Pitino better figure out what they have for pregame meal and try to replicate it for a while, because this is a different Minnesota team that we saw at Nebraska.
22 points in the paint tonight for Minnesota. 12 this half for Mason.
Carlos Morris had an 8-0 run for Minnesota in the first half, and Mason trying to pick up the scoring mantle here in the second.
9 this half for Mason, not 12. Either way, it's been a big half so far as Robinson leaks out into the corner, halfway down into a clean ball back up, and McBrayer the rebound. 6-point Michigan lead. The three up and strong from Bugs.
I still like that look. He had a good look from three-point land. He's capable from that distance.
Time to get Urban going again if you're Michigan. He's been quiet the last couple minutes.
I agree. Take him off the ball a little bit. Get him in some of this action. Bugs is 6'9". He can run him out and create some space just by movement off the ball.
Urban now with a double-double, 19 points, 10 rebounds, first of the year, fourth of his career. Donnell the three. Dawkins with the follow. What a pretty play by Aubrey Dawkins.
Aubrey Dawkins, quietly the best leaper on this club and showing you how.
Oh, and the hesitation. Count the bucket and the foul. Dupree McBrayer with the answer on the other end. Got to look at that Aubrey Dawkins play one more time.
The timing, and look, he had to let that go quicker, Kevin, because he was floating behind the backboard. What a play, Aubrey Dawkins. Boy, his dad would be proud of that.
Now, before McBrayer goes to the line, this is the foul, and it's a big one. It's the fourth on Mark Donnell. So Donnell in big foul trouble, Steven.
Yeah, and Lamar Simpson right there on the spot.
Zach Irvin's going to get a breather. Coming up on a media timeout.
That's an aggressive move by the freshman, McBrayer.
And a 5-point ball game. Minnesota is winless in league, 0-6. Michigan coming off that 3-game stretch of Purdue, Maryland, and Iowa. In a battle here at home tonight. In a game they once led by 15.
Now, John Beilein going E.J. Wilson. Yeah. Find some size that can protect the rim a little bit better.
Abdul Rahman saw an opening and drove to the rim. The foul inside going on Joey King, and a timeout on the floor. 5-point Michigan lead at Chrysler Center. Michigan State in East Lansing, and here in Ann Arbor, Minnesota, giving Michigan all they want, but our Bass Pro Shop's in the net. One of the prettiest offensive rebound putbacks you'll ever see. That's Aubrey Dawkins.
Aubrey Dawkins, not only the timing, Kevin, but to know to release it so that he doesn't get behind the backboard, doesn't have a shot. And he'll just come off the bench, so what a heads-up athletic play by Aubrey Dawkins.
Zach Irvin will stay on the bench off the timeout for Michigan. He scored 4 of the first 6 points this half and hasn't shot the ball in the last 10 possessions for Michigan. Off the inbound, Wilson inside. DJ Wilson fortunate to keep that ball in possession for Michigan.
It's a great stat you just talked about, and it drives me crazy, Kevin. In college basketball, when you have a hot hand, that you don't wear that hot hand out. In the NBA, they'll go to you 10 straight times if the defense doesn't adjust. But in college, they don't recognize that.
Wilson can't get it to fall. Stays with it, though. And both from point-blank range fall out. Frustrating for the freshman. Here's McBrayer on the attack. Morris, the skip. Dorsey the three, and Robinson the rebound.
That was a good look. Nice ball movement. The ball shifts sides a couple times. They get a decent look.
And off to Dawkins. No Irvin for the moment. He's on the bench getting a breather. Dawkins will try to provide the spark, and Morris with the board.
Coach Beilein trying to get Dawkins and Abdul Rahman some time, but I would get Irvin back in quickly.
And now it's a 3-point ball game. 50-47, the closest it's been since that 13:35 mark in the first half, and the crowd starting to get into it a little bit. They've been subdued of late. Rahman inside, the contact will send him to the line. Zach Irvin back at the scorer's table ready to return. Morris picks up his first foul, and Rahman to the line.
I like what John Beilein was trying to do there. He was trying to let some of the younger wings work this situation out. Lee Dawkins and Rahman on the floor, as well as Duncan Robinson. Now Minnesota's got some confidence, Kevin. Tough to put them out.
Rahman still has not scored tonight. And we see with Zach Irvin as he comes back in, his first double-double of the season, 4th in his career. 19 points, 10 rebounds, but we mentioned it before he went out. He hadn't shot the ball in the 10 preceding possessions when he went out of the game. So we'll see if Michigan can get the ball in his hands and get a shot up quickly here.
If I'm Derek Walton, he's getting the ball. Point guards have to know who has a hot hand and go to them. Let's see if Kevin Dorsey does the same thing with Carlos Morris.
Those free throws keep it a 3-point game with the misses. Dorsey, McBrail, they wanted the 3, wouldn't take it. 9 to shoot. Murphy will launch the 3. Strong off the heel. Walton the rebound. Walton in transition. Oh, what speed to the rim for 2.
I love that. Walton's got another gear that he can go to. And so I'm a little baffled right now, Kevin. Minnesota got back in the game by what? Getting to the rim. And now they're selling for jumpers.
Richard Pitino's going to take a timeout and perhaps have that conversation with his squad.
Well, you talk about a quick as a hiccup. Derek Walton Jr. getting to the hole, knows what to do with
it. Morris, that bucket brought Minnesota to within 3.
That was a heck of a move. He sidestepped, jump stop, got between 3 defenders, and Carlos Morris was showing the way, got them back in the game, and yet Minnesota starts shooting the jumpers. Go figure.
And how did Michigan extend that lead right back to 5? They went right to the rim with Derek Walton Jr.
Right. So neither team really, no shot blocking. So if I'm paying attention and I'm trying to get back into this game, I'm looking to get to the rim. 1-3-1 zone by Michigan.
13 to shoot. McBrayer. Good pass to the baseline. Morris is there. We're at a 3-point game again.
Boy, McBrayer, I'm telling you, I see why Coach Pitino likes this young man. He's got good size at the point guard position. Made a very good decision that time with the ball.
All right, now Zach Irvin, 13 possessions without a shot. Does he get one here?
He's got to get one.
Here he is with 14 to shoot, matched up against Mason, launching over him, and the rebound, Morris. Morris has scored the last 4 for Minnesota. McBrayer now against Irvin, and a little bump, and a foul is going to be called. That bucket will not count, but a foul on the floor on Zach Irvin, his first.
Again, Kevin, wise decision by the freshman McBrayer. Understanding the freedom of movement this season, any contact on dribble penetration resulting in a foul.
And that's the 7th team foul against Michigan. So a team trying to come from behind with 8:52 to go, shooting free throws the rest of the way.
And Kevin, they've got the recipe for success. Put it on the deck and get to the rim.
They score the highest percentage of points from the free throw line of any team in the conference. However, they don't shoot it particularly well. They get there a lot. They don't cash in as much as they'd like to. 9 of 13 tonight as Dawkins fires and hits the 3.
I love the amnesia of the whole team of Michigan. They've been off a little bit tonight. They usually knock down a lot of those shots that they've missed. But they don't care. They raise up with a lot of confidence. Dawkins has quietly had a very good half here.
7 points, 2 rebounds for Dawkins tonight. Morris, and that's a travel. Doing a little too much dancing at the top, and Morris turns it over.
Watch Dawkins elevate. No hesitation whatsoever. Nice screen by Zach Irvin. Michigan just keep shooting that long-range ball.
Michigan tonight from 3, 8 of 26. They've hit at least 10 in 7 straight games.
Wagner's a little confused in this possession right now.
Pops out to get it to Irvin. It's a good way to clear up confusion. Nice block by Jordan Murphy. The rejection of Zach Irvin. Morris leaves for King. Now back to Morris. Nate Mason against Walton. The kick to McBrayer. Halfway down and up it comes. Walton to the other end. 5th rebound for Walton as he starts the offense. Oh, Walton with the weave, and Murphy's there again. Back-to-back blocks for Murphy. Here's Morris going baseline against Dawkins. That's not going to go. Murphy's tip won't go. Murphy again with a rebound. Can't get the roll, and Dawkins clears it for Michigan.
Wagner's presence in there deterred those guys from getting to the rim.
Timeout taken by Michigan. 7 minutes exactly remaining in this ball game. 55-49, Michigan with the 6-point lead. The Gophers trying to keep it at 6. Jordan Murphy clearing the shot off the glass from Derek Walton. 6-point game. Super Wednesday basketball on BTN is presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. And brought to you in part by State Farm. We exist to assist. Alongside Stephen Bardo, I'm Kevin Kugler. We've got a tight ball game. Winless in conference, Minnesota down just 6 on the road after trailing by as much as 15. Zach Irvin with his 4th career double-double to lead Michigan. But Stephen Bardo, it's been a while since Zach Irvin was able to budge off that 19-point mark.
Hasn't scored since the 7:31 mark, and I don't blame him, Kevin. I blame his teammates. I know you run a 2-guard offense up front for Michigan, but Zach Irvin has done everything except sell popcorn at halftime. You got to get him some more opportunities.
17:31 remaining in the second half. The only points, the last time I should say, he scored in this half. He's 0 for 1 since as Walton drains the giant 3 for Michigan.
Walton set that play up beautifully. There was a switch. Mason was on Wagner, and Walton was acting like he was going to go into the post. The defense relaxed. He elevated. Excellent play by Walton. 12
for Walton, second Wolverine in double figures. His first made 3 was 0 for 4 before that one. Can Minnesota find an answer? Joey King has not scored tonight. King, the hook, too strong, and Irvin, the rebound, is 11th for the night. About to slip under 6 minutes to go.
Mismatch here with Walton and Murphy trying to guard Walton.
Now King on him on the switch. Walt deep 2. And bugs the board for Minnesota. Gophers 0 for their last 5. They've not scored in almost 3.5 minutes.
No jumpers anymore from Minnesota. Like to see them get to the hole or let Jordan Murphy go on the block. Doesn't matter who's guarding him right now.
Mason driving inside. Big collision. No foul. Murphy grabs it from Mason, who was on the seat of his pants as he threw it.
There's a ton of contact there. And Nate Mason heads up, didn't complain, didn't get upset. Made a great play. For the scrappiness of this Gophers ball club. I know they're down 7, but they are giving themselves a chance in this game.
Irvin working hard against Bugs. What a bounce! And the block for the foul. Abdur-Rahman elevating along the baseline, and the foul on Murphy, his 4th.
Michigan got a gift on this one, I think, Kevin. Of course, the replay will show probably something different. That's all ball. You got to let the young fella have that. That's a great play. That would have been his 3rd consecutive block in the last 2 minutes. Tough break for the Gophers.
Now can Abdur-Rahman cash in at the line? He is 8 for 16 on the year, 0 for 2 tonight. He does indeed catch it. The first one.
And look at this collision. Nate Mason stays on the floor, heads up play to Jordan Murphy.
I'm not so sure on that play. Derek Walton didn't twist an ankle. He's been walking back and forth the entire time that Abdur Rahman's been shooting free throws. Looks like he's favoring the ankle just a little bit.
He is. He's a little ginger. I mean, walking gingerly on that foot. And let's see if he can shake this off.
Rare the entry to Murphy along the baseline. Not there. Minnesota's battled, but gotta give Michigan a lot of credit. Even on a night where it's not been their best night, they've been able to just sort of keep Minnesota at arm's distance most of the night.
Very good point. You know, they haven't hit the outside shots that we've grown accustomed to seeing, but they just hit enough, like you're saying, Kevin. Talking about that amnesia.
The three for Minnesota's Carlos Morris is no good, and here comes Walt. Looking pretty good there as he makes his way up the floor. Robinson, it's strong, and it'll roll out to Nate Mason. Minnesota 2 for their last 10. Nice catch by Murphy. Waits for the traffic to clear and gets 2.
Jordan Murphy, he has vice grips. That's why that ball smacks every time he gets his hands on it.
You've talked, Stephen, about the three-point shooting not quite going the way Michigan has seen it fall throughout the course of this year. They're just 3 for 11 in the second half from three-point range.
Yeah. And they're going to keep shooting them.
As Irvin does, and Morris with the rebound. And then Morris throws it away. Timeout on the floor. A costly turnover for Minnesota trying to come back on the road. Still down 7 as the hill gets steeper with the clock growing short. Dave, thanks. 60-53. It was a 7-point game at halftime. A 7-point game here with 3:22 to go in this second half. Zach Irvin with 19, Derek Walton Jr. with 12. The only two in double figures for Michigan, have missed 6 of their last 7 from the floor, shooting just 32% overall in this second half. But while they've not had the offensive night that they're accustomed to having, they've been able to do a good job defensively. Minnesota's not been able to find any kind of range from outside. And Minnesota 0 for 6 from 3 in the second half.
Both teams shooting under 40%, which is very rare in this building for the Wolverines. And what I like what Michigan's doing, they're +1 on the glass. It's an area we thought that they would struggle against this more athletic Gophers team, but led by Zach Irvin. Michigan battling on the glass.
Wraparound pass, Abdur Rahman won't get that one down, and then that's out of bounds. It'll belong to Michigan. Donnell able to tip it off Murphy. A little frustration on the face of Jordan Murphy there. Not able to pull that one in.
Yeah, Nate Mason as well. Lamont Simpson telling him, I have the power to give you a technical, young fella. And what a weapon when you have Derek Walton Jr. down the stretch. Can get you in your offense, he can break down the defense, and can extend the defense with his outside shooting.
Irvin trying to regather, and cannot find that rhythm that he had early. 2:40 remaining in this one, 7-point game. King got a good look, but he's been off tonight. Has not scored, 0 for 3 from the floor.
Yeah, and he's pressing because he hasn't had enough opportunities, in my opinion.
Big Ten finale presented by Reese's, coming up immediately after we're done here in Ann Arbor. Lots to talk about. And the Big Ten today, an upset in East Lansing. Walton drives it to the rim, and Walton finishes it off. 14 for Walton. And he's been the spark in the second half.
He's been fantastic. I mean, he's made the right decision almost every time down. You know, they weren't getting the ball to Zach Irvin, but he was making up for it.
Guarded 3 from Mason. Minnesota still 0 for from behind the arc in this second half. And Michigan up 9, starting to feel a little more comfortable and confident.
And they're going to start fouling here. It looks like the bench is trying to get them to foul.
And Mason commits the foul on Walton. 74% shooter. Last shot for Walton.
Well, Derek Walton, he's got such a good base. You see jump stops. So a lot of guys go off 1 foot. Derek Walton tends to jump stop and goes off 2 feet to give himself better body control.
Just the 6th team foul a moment ago on Minnesota, so the next foul will put Michigan at the line the rest of the way. Not going to foul him now, though. 8 to shoot. Walton, the 3. Murphy keeps it alive. A little bit of hope still for Minnesota. They've got to score. Mason gets to the rim, and Mason with the 2. A timeout taken by the Gophers, trailing by 7. Still a little life for Minnesota with 1:04 to play. Michigan with a win can move into a tie for 4th place in the conference with Purdue and Ohio State. Minnesota trying to get that first conference win, but it's not going to be easy.
That team right there is real. I didn't expect to see Michigan State lose 3 in a row in conference play. I wasn't surprised by Nebraska going in there and playing well. I didn't know that they'd win. So the race, like it always does, Kevin, Big Ten gets very interesting this time of the season.
And a timeout has to be called by Walton as he gets trapped along the baseline with 1:01 to go. Quick timeout for us as well. Presented by Reese's. Coming up after the game alongside Stephen Bardo, I'm Kevin Kugler. Michigan has led for almost the entirety of this game by as much as 15 points. Minnesota started the game with a 2-0 lead, and since that point it's been all Michigan, but Minnesota's just hung around, sort of lurking in the weeds, but never able to get that run that would put them anywhere closer than 3 down the stretch.
And remember, this is Minnesota's DNA. They're used to scrambling, trapping, forcing turnovers. Very comfortable in this situation.
Minnesota foul number 2,
Nate Mason with the foul. Richard Pitino erupted towards Gene Steratore for a moment. He wanted a call before the inbound. That was not coming.
It was close. That count looked like it got to 4 before Michigan was able to get the ball in. Derek Walton doing a good job of breaking behind the defense and making himself available.
Walton's got 9 of his 14 in this second half. 2 for 2 at the line. And as good as Zach Irvin was in the first half, that's how good Walton has been down the stretch in this second half.
Yeah, he's taken over the game and gotten into the paint, put constant pressure on Minnesota.
And you can cover both. Back in the game now for your Wolverines is number 24.
Now, if you're Minnesota, you still don't need a 3. You've got plenty of time. You've got enough fouls to give. Look for a strong drive to the bucket because you could get an old-fashioned 3-point play.
Each team with only 1 timeout remaining. Each team has committed 17 fouls. There's Mason driving to the rim, got the contact from Irvin and the foul. So Mason's going to get the chance to score with the clock stopped at 54.3 seconds.
Best case scenario. You said it, Kevin. Clock stop. He forces the contact. Irvin's in pretty good position. That's not even a call last season. But with the freedom of movement this season, that's an automatic foul.
Mason with 17 points. For Nate Mason, his best Big Ten game this year was 19 against Penn State. The best game was 20. Richard Pitino wanted this kind of night from Nate Mason. He has certainly gotten it.
Watch for Abdul Rahman. If he gets the ball, Minnesota will foul him immediately.
Here's Walton. And Mason going to foul Walton. That's been a bad recipe for success. 5 for 5. Walton at the line tonight.
Yeah. Duncan Robinson was wide open. Did a good job of looking up the floor and finding Walton.
Mason's 3rd foul sends Walton to the line for the 1-and-1.
Well, Michigan has been impressive. And the fact that they haven't shot the ball very well, it's un-Michigan-like here this evening. They've done enough to keep this lead.
Misses the front end, so Minnesota down 7 with the ball. Michigan came in shooting 49.7% on the season as the turnover gives it back to Michigan, shooting just 36.5% tonight, and Abdur Rahman going to the line.
That was a scouting report steal. They saw it. I think that was Duncan Robinson or Mark Donnell. That was Duncan Robinson who shot the gap on that. He recognized the formation. That was a scouting report steal. Good job by Duncan Robinson.
Abdur Rahman at the line. He'll get the bonus. That play a moment ago kind of summed up the hill that Minnesota's been trying to climb. They get the break they need. They get the missed free throw. If they come down and turn it over, there's just not, when you're down 15 and you're 0-6, that's a hard road to climb.
Yep.
And that's what they've been trying to do all night. They got it as close as 3 in the second half, but Michigan has not trailed despite the surges from Minnesota. Carrying the load down the stretch. They've combined to score the last 11 points. Mason driving inside, gets the 2, and the timeout's taken by Richard Pitino with 31.5 seconds to go. We'll take it with them back for the finale of this one from Ann Arbor in a moment. In overtime, Maryland and Northwestern. Melo Trimble with a game-high 18. And how about those Indiana Hoosiers? I won't say who they beat in deference to my partner, Stephen Bardo. You can read it on your screen. And then Peter Jock, the Big Ten Player of the Week.
Yeah, it's been every week has been outstanding in this league. And different players stepping up. But like you said, Indiana, they're for real. And they're playing as well as anybody in the league. And they have, in my opinion, the most favorable schedule remaining. Michigan State once, Purdue once, Maryland once.
Speaking of schedules remaining, Iowa and Purdue Sunday, BTN. Don't miss that one.
No, I'll be front and center for that one. Won't be at the game, but I would definitely be watching.
We were at that first one, and it was a big-time Iowa comeback at Mackey Arena. It's coming up on Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern time. A.J. Hammonds, Jared Utah, shot blockers in the conference.
You know what? I said this to you the other night when we were doing Rutgers and Purdue. Jared Utah and A.J. Hammond should be poster guys for college basketball. 2 seniors, they had their ups and downs. Utah had to transfer, he had to sit out. He battled through injury, and now he's one of the top players in the country. A.J. Hammond, somewhat of a malcontent his first couple years, was having a hard time figuring out what Coach Painter was expecting of him, and now looks like he might have a long career at the next level based on the work he's put in.
10th finale presented by Reese is coming up after we're done here as King gets his first points of the night, the 3, and the first made 3 in the second half for Minnesota. And a foul will send Abdur Rahman back to the line. They're 5 of 21 from behind the arc, including this one.
Yeah, that was a set play. King was by himself in the corner. So now, Minnesota, you see, once that 3 went, they got a little bit more energy. Far from over. Rahman has struggled a little bit from the line. You mentioned he was only 50% on the year before that last opportunity.
4 for 6 tonight, and Michigan's been good down the stretch. 8 of 9 at the line, trying to close this one out. And that looked pretty for the sophomore.
Well, when you don't shoot that well, you can maintain a lead by doing just enough. You got to tip your hat to the Wolverine. Without that man right there, Karis LeVert, he looks sick to his stomach on the sideline.
Michigan getting the chance to return home and take on this Minnesota squad that's obviously been struggling this year. There's a foul, and that's going to send Nate Mason to the free throw line.
Michigan foul.
Abdul-Rahman with the foul.
That's his fourth.
Let's see here. Oh, Nate Mason, boy, he does a great job of selling contact. It looked like a whole lot there, but good job all night long by Nate Mason. Put it on the deck, put pressure on the defense. He's lived in that paint area.
Back in the game now for Minnesota.
Barring a late rally, it looks like the two teams that won their games tonight on BTN Super Wednesday will be matching up in Lincoln, Nebraska on Saturday. Michigan with a dangerous road trip to a place that will be electric.
Yes.
Pinnacle Bank Arena after Nebraska beat Michigan State tonight.
See if Minnesota can get into their pressure.
And Walton fouled with 20 seconds to go in this one.
You know what's even more impressive about Michigan tonight? Zach Irvin has not scored since the 17:31 mark. He's got 19 points in the previous 22 and a half minutes, but didn't score in the last 17:30, and they're still up 6 at the line. They shot the ball poorly. Duncan Robinson was hot early in his first couple, but he went ice cold after that.
3 for 12 tonight and 3 for 10 from 3 for Robinson.
So this Michigan team showed a lot of character tonight, overcoming their cold shooting and a very spirited effort by these Minnesota Gophers.
Well, for Michigan without Karis LeVert, every win is a big win.
That's right.
As you just try to maintain, hang on, and get yourself back to where Karis LeVert can come back fully healthy. Morris, that's rejected by Abdul-Rahman. It'll stay with Minnesota with fine defensive play.
It's an aggressive defensive play in that situation, because if he doesn't get that block, he's going to hear about it later. Good job on the timing. Muhammad Ali Abdul-Rahman.
10 seconds remaining. Mason will fire and hit the three. Mason's three brings Minnesota within 5, and a foul as Nate Mason's got a career-high 25 points.
Nate Mason was pegged by Coach Pitino before the game, telling you, Kevin, that Mason had to create. He had to score points in order for them to be successful. I think he did that and then some with his career high. Looks like John Beilein and his staff can finally get a little relief here.
17 points in the half for Derek Walton Jr. He's got 22 for the game, 2 off his season high. Final seconds of this one. McBrayer will drive uncontested to the rim, lay it in. Minnesota will fall in this one to Michigan, who holds off the game Gophers tonight, 74-69. Michigan victorious. They've won 8 straight at home. Final score in this one, Michigan 74, Minnesota 69. The Gophers now 0-7 in Big Ten play. For Stephen Bardo, I'm Kevin Kugler, saying so long from Ann Arbor, Michigan, where the Wolverines are victorious 74-69. Now let's send you to Dave and Jess in Chicago with the Big Ten finale. So long from Ann Arbor.